being a spiritual person, I've always seen things from a spiritual standpoint since I was young. And part of that didn't come from church because my mom, she would make sure we went to church when we were younger. We moved around a little bit, but and then later on, we got back into church. Either way, not really the point. The point was the connection to something greater than ourselves. So I've always though have seen things from a spiritual aspect. Did I take it past church? Absolutely. When you start opening your eyes to certain things, you can't unsee. You can't unsee things, you can't unhear things. One of the things I cannot unhear, which is kind of not related, but I've been wanting to talk about. Somebody said something that just resonated so deep with my soul. I can never unhear it. I can never unthink it. I can never stop piecing together what all that really fucking means. The statement was that women today in these newer generations are the first women in their bloodline to truly be free. The person didn't say it in those words. They said it in the words of, that's just basically what it meant. They said it in the words of more of like, basically women have been captive for ages. We've been forced to rely on men to even eat, just to sit at the table and eat, right? Forced to rely on men to have a cover over our head. Forced to rely on men to have a bed to sleep in. Forced to rely on men to just exist in society. Which had a lot of bad and had some good, because, some women didn't mind it. A lot of women did. And a lot of women went through a lot of shitty situations that they felt they had to stay in and sit in and deal with because of said system. Anyway, I don't really want to go down that whole tangent, but I can't unhear it. I can't. I tried to let it go. I can't. That made me think of Medea. I ain't no damn duck. I ain't no damn duck in a pond with the water on the back, okay? I can't let it go. Can't let it roll off. I can't unhear it. We are the first in our bloodlines to really be free and be able to put ourselves in positions to express that freedom. Now, don't get me wrong. This is still a fucked up society. It's still a fucked up system that's still catering to men, and it's slowly dismantling itself. But here's the thing. We at least have a shot now. We at least have a chance now. You feel me? You hear me? You see me? Anyway, let me get back to the spiritual thing I was talking about. I just couldn't unhear that, and I had to share it. I had to spread the news because think of it from that perspective. Hold on, let me go on this tangent just a tad bit longer. So think of it from that perspective, though. And they want to talk about, there's a male loneliness epidemic. Men are, I don't know what y'all doing. I don't. Y'all complaining a whole lot is what it sounds like. Talking about bring this and that and the third to the table and getting mad at the fact that you have to provide for people in the first place. Like, first of all, a relationship is a relationship. If you set the terms within your relationship of what you want, you need to not provide. You need to agree to that. And you need to stand by that. It's as simple as that. If that's not the type of relationship you want, let it be known. And allow the right people or right person to come into your life that can abide by that wants the same thing. Stop trying to make people do shit that they don't want to do. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway. But they want to claim all these things, right? It's a whole bunch of men out there complaining about this, that, and the third. But in reality, women are taking time for themselves. Taking time within their career. Taking time to heal. That's what I've been doing mostly. I've been in my career. I've been in my bag. And I've been healing. And there's a lot of people out there doing the same thing. There's some men out there doing it. I ain't gonna bash everybody. I'm seeing the culture. I'm seeing the culture because of social media. I'm seeing the repetitive cycle of them trying to brainwash us into being disconnected from each other. That's what I'm seeing. And I want to speak on it because we are the first generations to truly, truly be free enough to not be tied in karmic situations, to choose to do better, to choose to be better, to choose to put ourselves in better situations. We are the first. What are you doing with that time? Anyway, so I actually wanted to bring up, before I went on that tangent, I actually really wanted to bring up there's some different energy swirling around me right now. So give me a sec. Let me tune in. So the first thing kind of hit me yesterday. So I go out. I'm invited to this event. It's a decent. It's a nice event. It's really nice actually. There's some things that I manifested in my life, and even certain people I've manifested in my life before. It's been years ago since I manifested some of this. Like, let's see, 6 years ago is when I started manifesting this group of people in my life, right? So I think I might be getting that. Like, I'm not entirely sure because it's come in waves in different forms, but in different bodies, same type of energy. But it wasn't completely right. Like, there was something off about the situation, so I just left it, and it keeps coming back. And it's not, this isn't one of those like karmic cycles. This isn't something that's like keeps coming back just to keep showing me things over and over negative about myself or something. Like it's not exposing things I need to heal. Let me put it that way. Or at least it hasn't been. Up until recently. So I don't even know how to talk about this without Okay, let me try to get to the point. The point is that it's bringing up things in me that I didn't know I have to deal with, you know. Like, I'm big on energy. I've talked about it before. I'm an empath, but I'm a deeper level empath, I guess. There's actually a name for it I found out. It's called Hioki, where I can actually reflect back to you exactly who the fuck you are. And on part of that, though, means that I take on parts of you, and it expresses itself through me, whether I'm in your face or with, like, to myself. Like, currently, I'm in someone else's energy. So with that being said, that energy brought up certain things. Like, it's exposing, when that happens, it exposes like how they feel, how they think, how they view the world sometimes. And sometimes it's really just about like the negative things in their life. With that being said, like, there's the negative energy that's coming through is insecurities. But instead of it pinpointing their insecurities, it's playing out through me and through my life and through whatever could be my insecurities. So now it's exposing my insecurities. Try to keep up. I know this don't make sense to a lot of people, but it's energy. It's all energy, and it flows through people differently. I'm a sun, moon, and rising Aquarius, so it's going to flow through me regardless. And I have a Pisces and Venus, so sometimes things try to get stuck emotionally, but I release it anyway. So, insecurities. I've dealt with a lot in life with people that claim that they love me. claim that they care about me, try to act like they care about me. And yet they either switch up or they just, have this underlying tone of always trying to put me down in some sort of way. I've healed a lot of that. I've healed a lot of things that could have perpetuated themselves, surfaced themselves, reflected themselves in a way of being insecure. So I don't have a whole lot of insecurities. There's certain things like I'll peep out a situation. Like if I'm in a room full of people, yeah, I'm gonna walk the room. I'm gonna peep out I'm gonna scope out the entire place before I actually just like sit there and get comfortable and start talking to people. That's a part of me being an Aquarius. That's also a part of me wanting to make sure that I'm safe. I wouldn't really call that an insecurity, but it is deep rooted. But that's not really what was brought up. What's been brought up in insecurities. So yesterday at this event, beautiful event, and I'm like around people that I know kind of energetically. But they're working the event, right? So they're doing their thing and I'm kind of left to myself. Nothing new. I'm by myself 24/7 all the time. So there's nothing new there. I'm used to it. I'm actually more used to being by myself than I am being in a crowd of people anymore, because I've isolated so much, because people want some bullshit always. So I just tend to myself, and whoever wants to come and talk to me comes and talks to me, and we exchange the energy as needed. But anyway, people were working the event. I'm left alone, right? I get to this point though where these insecurities from someone was playing themselves out through me. And one of the insecurities that came up was imposter syndrome. If any of you heard that, it's almost, I can't say it's 100% imposter. It's almost like imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, when I looked it up, was talking about the simple fact that you feel like you might be exposed as a fraud, even though you might have the credibility to back yourself. Something along those lines. Something along the lines just of feeling like people are going to treat you as if you don't have the credentials. But it wasn't so much that. It was more of, one, not feeling like I belonged, which has actually been an insecurity. And that I've dealt with all my life. But I never would have called it an insecurity, because it's just something that I've felt but never actually expressed really in any way. Because I can be very, very social. And I never really let that get in my way. And that's why I wouldn't have put it under the umbrella of insecurity. Because it wasn't something that got in my way. But that doesn't mean it wasn't there. I've never felt like I belonged anywhere. And I guess that really is a thing, because it's making me emotional. Some of you know I'm mixed. And being a mixed woman in America is not always easy, especially when you live in the South. There's that. My parents are a black and white couple, and my mother is black and my father is white, living in the South. There is that. I have always been in tune and a little more awake than the people around me, including some family members, and there's that black sheep of the family centered around that. And just kind of navigating through life with nobody really knowing what box or group to put me in, because when they look at me, they can't see themselves. And don't get me wrong, there's a handful of people that have come into my life and they love me genuinely, right? They've accepted me genuinely. And there's one thing that actually, I'm gonna throw this in there real quick. One thing that always keeps me gravitating in the LGBTQ community, along with like sexual orientation and preferences, but the community itself, like, they love you. If they see you alone, they love you. It's just a group of people that know what it's like to be outcasted, to be the black sheep, to be not fully accepted for who you really are. And that speaks volumes. It absolutely speaks volumes. There's no other group that I have found in this world in my lifetime that has been more accepting than the LGBT plus community. I just want to throw that out there. I got love for y'all. Mm-hmm. So, switching back, that has been an underlying thing in my life and feeling in my life. But again, I never really let it stop me. Like, I go out there, I just open myself up to people, any type of person really that has the right type of energy. Like, I'm more about energy than I am about what you look like, how you presented yourself, or what the world even thinks of you. Because there's been plenty of people that the world holds way up here, but I see that soul and that's the demon. Or people who have been held way, way low down here, but their spiritual ranking is so freaking high that it just doesn't even make sense as to why people would treat them like that in the first place. If only they knew, if only they could see. But switching back again, it's just been an underlying thing. And it almost felt like I said imposter syndrome, right? But it's more of just like not feeling like you belong, not feeling like I belong. And I've made myself okay with that throughout life, right? I mean, in certain situations, you kind of don't have a choice with certain things. You just got to do what it do and keep it moving and wear that shit as armor or wear it as a badge. And I chose to do both. I never really guarded. I only guarded myself in life when it came to people who had negative energy and people who had racist attitudes, really towards anyone, because I have a lot of mixtures just in the two parents, and that's not even talking about expanding into my entire lineage. Like, there's so many stories that could be passed down that haven't been passed down that I promise you we have every little bit drop of blood and DNA that could trace us back everywhere. Anyway, both of my parents have mixtures, and it's just like, I don't know. To me, I feel like I belong everywhere because I mentally put myself in that space. I mentally was like, I belong where I'm meant to be, and that's how I've navigated a lot of through life. But I will say, I'm in a different state. I'm still in the South, but it seems like the segregation and prejudices of it all, they're a little more intense being mixed. This is only POV over here. This is only my personal point of view. This is only my experience. I can't speak for anybody else. But these are the energies that I felt being in this place that I'm in. And it's like people that would at least take their time to get to know me, like a group of people, a culture of people, even a specific race of people that would usually take their time to get to know me and realize that I am them. Immediately discard me here. As a group, there's certain individuals that let me in. They see who I am. They understand where I come from. And they're accepting of anything that they don't, that they didn't go through. But as an overall, it's been weird. And it's been playing on that underlying insecurity. Because I don't feel like I belong to any group here. And it's crazy because this has the most amount of groups here. Like, anybody that's been close to like a major city, that there's like there's way more different types of cultures around the city than there ever will be in the South and like rural areas. Bear with me. My tea had cacao in it. It's opening my heart chakra. It's been interesting. So at first it did feel like imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome in the sense of not necessarily exposing me to be a fraud, but more of like purposely trying to expose, or no, let me rephrase that. It was this feeling of not belonging and feeling like I didn't have the backing to belong when I know damn well I do. And that's weird. I've never actually dealt with imposter syndrome, mainly because I'm Delulu and I pride myself in it. I've said that before. I literally live a delusional life on purpose in a lot of ways, and it keeps me moving, it keeps me going, it has kept me sane, and it has helped me accomplish a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, underlying, I'm a realist. I know what the real situation is. But will I bury that real situation for a second to get me through some stuff? Absolutely. Absolutely. I love when I'm out here trying to bare my soul to y'all and I start having revelations as I go. So, I don't know. What I just said just resonated with me very deeply. I have rose and chocolate in my tea and cacao, and it's so good. So that came up. Anybody going through imposter syndrome? I saw some people actually talking about this here recently. They're going through the same thing. And don't mind the boxes behind me. I've been packing. I'll get a lot of changes. Hold on, give me a second. I don't know if I'm tapping into somebody else's energy or anything, but if you're watching this, you need to speak your truth. You need to talk about what's bothering you. You need to say what's on your heart. Anyway, for anybody wondering what I just did, I do Reiki on myself on a regular. If you don't know what Reiki is, look it up. I've explained it multiple times. It's energy work. Anyway, clearing my chakra. So, hold on. I want some more tea now. So I want to keep saying imposter syndrome because that's what I keep hearing over and over, and it's the underlying same feeling though. It's feeling like you worked your ass off so hard to get to a certain position, and yet somehow something or someone or just the situation itself feels like you're not supposed to be there yet. Like it feels like you're not meant to be there when in actuality you are, because you just worked to get there. You did everything you're supposed to do to get there, and yes, again, someone or something is making it feel like you're the imposter, like you're not supposed to be where you know you're supposed to be. That's what imposter syndrome feels like to me. And that underlying just keeps playing off of that underlying insecurity. I don't like calling it insecurity, but it is what it is. It's an insecurity. That underlying insecurity of never really feeling like I belonged anywhere. And that's played itself out in a couple different ways. yeah, it's played as well. It's played itself out in a couple different ways. Not so much negative, because again, isn't not something I ever let stop me. It was more of like I'm an alchemist, so I turned pain into. I'm not gonna say that on. Oh man, I transmute energy though, so I'll turn pain into all kinds of things. Usually into creative outlets. So I can't expose myself that deep on social media. All right. Anyway, so but it's played itself out in the form of like anybody that I felt was viewed as an outcast around me, like the person or sometimes people that everybody wanted to talk shit about, I go befriend them. Anybody that they just like, anybody that majority of people think is weird, I go befriend them. Anybody that wants to like just ostracize, I think is the word, but just pushing people out of the group. Whoever I felt was the outcast of the group, I gravitated towards. And in a lot of scenarios, I created my own group out of it. Yeah. I mean, I realized that's because that's how I felt. And they just resonated on that level with me. But I also realized, like, at an early age, I had a lot of love to give. And I feel like they needed that love. And then I realized later that I was the one that needed that love too. And so I had to learn to switch that and start giving that love back to myself. That's a whole thing. Another way that it played itself out, anytime any group of people wanted to start talking about me or talking shit about me and I knew, and even like pick on me or do these little bullying tactics, this is related to this, but this is also related to something else. It was, I didn't care enough to stand up for myself because I was already used to being on the outside. I was already used to feeling like I didn't belong. And spiritually, there's a lot of places I didn't belong. And that's only because, you know, spirit, God, higher power, life force had something better for me. And I was just sitting in these scenarios that, one, felt comfortable, two, probably just paid my bills, and three, were manipulative. Like I was manipulated into being in certain situations, is what I mean. Anyway, so yeah, a part of that was me not standing up for myself because I just didn't care. It was more like, it was like, you can think whatever you want to think, I don't have the time and the energy. And that's a fair standpoint, don't get me wrong, because not everybody is deserving of all that time and energy that it actually takes to confront somebody, to deal with somebody, to literally try to explain to somebody some shit that they would never understand, because that's really what the energy is giving. But I don't know, I'm in a place now where I'm always going to stand up for myself. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck what you do. Don't talk to me some certain way. Don't treat me a certain way. I will stand up for myself, and in one way or another, it's either going to come out super fucking toxic because I don't deserve that shit and you getting your karma back through me, or it's going to come off as me, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come off as me just telling you I don't appreciate this shit. And if you don't listen, it comes out karmic. Eventually it does. It's just how it goes. Well, my advice is just listen the first 2 times before. That's definitely some Aquarius shit. You better listen the first 2 times, because the 3rd and 4th time, oh baby, explosive. And ain't nothing safe. Nothing and nobody's safe. I'm kind of just going on a rant now. But this is the energy that's actually been coming up. So it's not so much of just a random rant. And then the other thing was, it's still tied to the same concept though, of just feeling like the manifestation is here. And one of the manifestations is like, hell yeah, I worked my ass off for this. I'm doing this. Tell me when to go. The other manifestation is like, is this what I wanted? Do I still want that? And knowing damn well I still want that, you know? I still want that. I just haven't known how to go about getting that. Because it's in relation to connections with people. And that's hard to navigate, especially, this world is fucked up. Like, so many people have such shitty energy. And quite literally, like, the spiritual attacks this past year for me have been real. And the only thing I can equate that to is what I've been working on. All the things I've been releasing, number one. And number two, I'm quite literally getting everything I said I was going after. I'm quite literally getting everything that I said I was going after. Now, mind you, I've always been this way. I've had so many people tell me, God, listen to you. You need to say, I mean, like, it's the same thing over and over. Random people that I've met throughout life. God listens to you. And with that being said, that means if I say I'm going to go get something, I'll go get it. But it's not all wishes and fairy tales where I put in the work to go get it. And I did what I needed to do to make it happen. And I never tried to limit myself. That is the biggest freaking thing. The biggest freaking thing. Like, yes, I stated the intention. Yes, I talked to Spirit. I talked to God about it. I even asked my ancestors to guide me through it. And I have that connection. But also, I saw something that I wanted. And I broke it down into all the steps I needed to go get it. And I did that. So, yeah, God listens to me. If you want me to quote a scripture real quick so you can get it, faith without works is dead. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the action towards it, and it'll manifest. But the manifestation is on my doorstep. And it's like, you gonna let me in or nah? And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. Again, one side of this manifestation is clear cut. I know what I want. I'm going after it. I've done this time and time again. When it comes to specifically that manifestation is dealing with my career and my sense of stability and security, right? I've done that before. I have manifested before I even knew what manifesting was. I talked about what I wanted to do. I even wrote it down so I could jot down like the step-by-step process to go get it. And I put in the action towards it and go get it. That's what a manifestation is. I didn't even know I was doing that until I started looking into more spiritual concepts and the verbiage that the spiritual community actually uses. It's the same thing though, but I was manifesting at an early age. I knew what I wanted and I found a way to go get it. And that didn't mean it was easy. That didn't mean that things was just handed to me because I wanted it. But shit, y'all know. Y'all been through some of the same shit. Y'all been through some of the same stuff over and over. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you want something bad enough, which for me, I'm ambitious. If I say I want something, I want it bad enough. It takes me a while to make a decision. To fully commit to something. So when I say I want it, I fucking want it. And I'm going to go get it. And nothing and nobody's going to stop me from getting it. I've always had that mentality. And that has gotten me through a lot. And it's also gotten me to accomplish things that I never thought about accomplishing things that my family never thought that I could accomplish, or that it was important even. Like, I don't know, the invalidation throughout life is real. Let me just throw that out there. That's in general. That's not just like specific person or anything like that. But that might be another tangent. So yeah. Imposter syndrome is real. What was the other thing? There's one more. There's like one more feeling that was coming through. So it was dealing with like feeling like I didn't belong. Also feeling like, I mean, the outside of the group. That's the same concept. And then I really had to sit myself down the other day though, because once I started feeling like the imposter syndrome part of it, I had to go get grounded immediately, and this is in the middle of the event, like, well, technically the beginning of the event. So I walked away for a second and went and sat. I found a tree, went and sat by a tree for a second and got myself grounded. And I literally was just looking, like I was in a space or a place at the event where I could see everything and everybody, right? And I'm sitting here looking around and I'm like, everything you said you wanted is literally right. I'm talking to myself at this point. I went to sit by the tree to release the energy so I can get grounded and come back. And I start talking to myself. And I'm like, everything that you said you wanted is literally staring you in the face right now. You said you wanted this, so get up and go get it. And I had to sit there and let that soak in and truly resonate, because it was like, why? Why do I feel this way? I don't like it. No. But, oh my gosh. It's a weird feeling. I've never felt that way in my life. And that's, I guess, a true testimony to how I'm about to level, how I'm not even about to, how I am leveling up. Because I'm currently in that situation of leveling up. I literally just accomplished so many freaking goals in the span of 6 months. Alone. On everything I said I wanted to do. Putting in the work. Getting the logistics done so it could all be legal. With businesses, with nonprofits, with freaking licenses, and oh my gosh. And I'm not even done yet. Not even close on some of it, but I finally got to a point with at least 2 of the 3 things that I truly manifested with my time in Georgia. I finally got them to a point where they should be leveling out soon. And I personally should be leveling out in a lot of ways. Bro, this journey's been weird. This journey's been so weird. So, yeah, I had to talk to myself under a tree yesterday. Oh, and y'all wonder why I feel like I don't belong nowhere. I'm okay with it though. I'm okay with it because I get my answers. That's what y'all. That's the thing. Y'all think that somebody like me is weird when they say, you know, go touch a tree, go sit by a tree, go put your feet in the dirt, go get grounded, go be in nature. But I get all of my freaking answers. It is so clear as day when I do. It's not muffled by anyone else's thought processes, anybody else's energy that I could be absorbing or taking in or just feeling in general. It's not overshadowed by anyone else's wants or needs for me in my life and how I'm supposed to feel and think, and none of that. It's none of that. It's the clearest and best way for me to calm myself and release all those things I just said in order to hear the clearest freaking message that is meant for me and only me. So I do it, and I do it often, and I recommend it. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. So I was talking to myself under a tree, and I do that often. I like trees. Anyway, there's a whole spiritual tangent we can go down about trees if you like. So, here we go again. Dealing with those energies yesterday. And then, here's the third thing. And then today, I wake up thinking about that, right? First of all, I had a wild, crazy dream. Can't remember it now. But that's been going on since, I think, May. I think the May portal is what opened up my dream psyche back again. And I've just been dreaming like crazy since. Like, I'm literally living in 2 different worlds. That's how... Talk about tired. I go to sleep and I'm working on everything. I wake up and I'm working on everything. Tight, you heard. Anyway, if you know, you know. If you do a lot of dream work, whether it's purposeful or just a gift that's given. Mine is a natural gift. I've been doing this since I was little. Didn't know what all of it meant, but, you know, you learn as you go. So I wake up this morning and I'm thinking about it, right? And it's like more insecurities start to kind of show themselves. And it boiled down to that underlying feeling of feeling like I didn't belong. But also, there's a few things actually. Also feeling like throughout life, people that I chose to care about are very supportive. Like, they didn't clap for me. And so I've always had to clap for myself. And I know some of y'all too hard to want somebody to clap for you, right? Psych! I want y'all to clap for me. Like, give me my flowers, because I earned them. Instead of constantly, this is a reoccurring theme that has been throughout my life. Constantly, people coming in my life trying to attack me in some sort of way. Like, attack me, demean me, put me in my place, belittle me, humble me. And it's not like I walk around here with a huge ego. I don't. Every once in a while, I let my ego come to play because I have to let every part of me express itself. That's the integration process. You learn all these parts of yourself. You heal all these parts of yourself. But you still have to allow them to express themselves. And you may be able to have more control of that, but you still have to allow that to come out. Anyway, another tangent. But I let my ego come out. Just like I let my shadows come out sometimes. Because sometimes people deserve that shit. It is what it is. Don't come messing around with spiritual people thinking that, you know, we ain't got this stuff in check and we ain't ready to come back with the comeback. So, it's giving neglect, which is a thing. And it is something that I've worked on for a long time in my life, actually. And I can't say that, you know, I can't say that I was neglected fully. Like, I had basic needs met. It was more of like emotional, psychological, mental, yeah, all of that just wasn't there in a lot of my life. And so I learned, actually at a very early age, to be anything and everything that I needed, which pushed me later in life into a hyper independent stance, so much to the point where even when I had healthy connections with people who genuinely, it turned me into an overgiver, who genuinely saw that I give freely and openly, not because I got it like that, just because it's who I am. And they wanted to give back. Like, here's a scenario. One of my best friends, and if you're watching this, I love you. But, there was a scenario where I was helping my best friend out, right? Like giving rides, trying to give them a ride home after work, because we both worked at the same place. And, you know, after a time period of giving rides and rides, it was just like, I'm big on reciprocal energy. So whenever that person was like coming to a point where they would want to give me gas money, because I've been giving them rides back and forth, I didn't even want to accept the shit. And it's like, why? I'm giving this person rides back and forth, right? And they're appreciative of it. They love me. And I never really asked for anything. Other than, like, our entire scenario was based off of the fact that we love to go out together. We love to dance. So we always made it a point to go out with each other and dance. And if I remember correctly, that person would buy me drinks and shots too whenever I wanted. Like, it was already lenient. It was already a reciprocal type of energy. But when it came to, like, outwardly expressing the reciprocal part in the form of financial means, or just giving in a way to me that felt too much for some reason, I wouldn't accept it. Like, in all reality, if I'm giving you a ride somewhere, I should be accepting gas money from you. I just took the time out of my day to use up my gas to get you where you needed to go, and you should help fill my tank. That's a reciprocal situation, right? No, I don't know. I was just like, no, I'm not having it. You're my best friend. To the point where this best friend kept shoving $20 bills in my hand, and I wouldn't take them. To the point where, instead of trying to shove them in my hand, because they knew I wasn't going to take it, they decided to put it in my center console every time. Like, this is how bad it got with this hyper independent mode that stemmed off of being and feeling neglected. And that being and feeling neglected manifested itself in overgiving and never receiving. And that manifested itself in a lot of different ways. Because that manifested itself being with me being in shit-ass relationships where wasn't nobody taking care of me. I had to take care of me and that person. Financially, mentally, emotionally, all of it. All of the things. It was all put on me. And it wasn't necessarily because that person didn't, or the person, whoever at the time, didn't have the capacity. It was just because me. It was because, that hit my heart. So it's because I kept blocking my blessings. All of that pushed me into a situation to keep blocking my blessings. That's what it boiled down to. And I finally, eventually, got to a point where, I started demanding shit back, because it was like, I'm not going to keep dealing with this for the rest of my life, where I'm overgiven to situations that are just taken. And I'm not even asking for shit. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's giving this underlying energy of almost expecting people to do right by you, but they'll never do right by you because you don't even tell them. It was given that energy in certain situations. It was also given the energy of not expressing how I truly feel. It was also given the energy of, again, blocking my own blessings, not actually receptive to certain individuals, not all, certain individuals that truly wanted to reciprocate the energy. And it was also giving over independence. It was also giving lack. It was also giving the potential idea of you don't deserve for anyone to give to you. It was also giving not worthy enough. And all of those things, of course, manifested in the physical. And when it manifested in the physical, that turned out in relationships. And within those relationships, that meant I was attracting people who only wanted to take. And when they did give, it was the absolute bare minimum. And most of them fronted or had, they manipulated. Let's call it what it is. It was manipulation. They acted like they could do and be this certain person, but they really were not. That also manifested itself into being emotionally abused. That also manifested itself into certain people thinking they can physically abuse me. I will never admit to the fact that I was physically abused. Only because, not necessarily because my pride won't let me, but because when somebody try to fight me, I'm gonna fight back. Like, we both coming out fucked up. So I'm not gonna sit there and just say I let somebody beat on me. I never let that happen. But there were people that tried. That much I can say. So when it came to the physical aspect of it, there was abuse there, or at least attempted abuse there. And then that also manifested itself in financial abuse. Just that taking aspect and never actually giving that back. There was a scenario where I took care of people financially. And I kept taking care of people financially. And they didn't even think twice about how they could give that back to me. They just kept consuming it, kept taking it, and kept acting like that shit was normal. And it's not. And this is dealing with men and women. And it's like, and this is also dealing with some people that were older than me. I've dated people that were older than me. And this is several scenarios at this point where it's just like, make this make sense. Like, I don't even know why I was truly in these situations, other than the fact that all of these insecurities manifested themselves throughout my life in these little ways that I never saw as true insecurities. And also, because I didn't wear my insecurities like that. And also, because of manipulation. I didn't have what I have now. I didn't have the spiritual discernment to see everybody for everything that they were. I was able to see certain things, certain traits, see some of the red flags, and be like, oh, I can deal with that. The one thing I did learn that was healthy but also toxic, because nobody wants to talk about both sides to everything. The healthiest toxic thing I learned growing up was that when you love somebody, and you in it, you in that shit through thick and thin, bad or worse. But I always let situations get to the worst or expose the worst, and I never made the full and conscious decision to be like, that's not something I want to deal with, until it got to a point of me being explosive and never wanting to deal with the shit again. And that was unhealthy in itself, and that portrayed itself in some toxic ways in itself. So I let the toxicity within the relationship build until I personally exploded on anything and everything. And there were certain scenarios where I calmed that down, and I definitely, I caught myself doing that early on in life, right? And I realized I didn't like it. I realized I didn't like doing that shit. So I learned how to stop doing that. But within learning to stop doing that, I also stopped standing up for myself. You see what I'm saying? There's this duality to everything, where it's like you could be the peaceful one, the calm one, the bigger person in the situation, but are you even standing up for yourself? Are you making sure that your needs are met? Are you even saying what it is that you want and making it happen? Like there's this 50, not 50-50, but there's this duality to everything, the yin and yang to everything, and the good and bad to everything, the healthy and the toxic to everything. And the healthiest toxic thing I learned was that if you love somebody, you deal with the bullshit. I had to unlearn that shit. Like, don't get me wrong. If I get to a point where I'm so with somebody, I'm with somebody. Yes, I'm going to fight for that because that's what I said I wanted. Although I do reserve the right to change my mind at any given time when new information is implemented. I had to learn that too. The other side of that is that there's a learning process. There's a curving point basically to get to I'm gonna ride and die for you. It don't need to be just ride and die for you from the jump. Like that's how I was operating. If I say I like you, and I do give it a process. I ain't the type to move that quick. I'm really not. I give it a process. With some of them it was years. With some of them it was like 6 months. Like if I feel like I know you within that time frame, I'm for you. But I don't know, that vetting process need to be longer than that because these people really out here faking their whole fucking personality, bruh. And that's another thing that people don't want to talk about when it comes to like this whole men versus women bullshit. I don't want to jump on board with the men versus women bullshit because I view it as a whole nother way to disconnect each other, as a whole nother way to separate everybody. And they keep putting everybody in these boxes and opinions and bullshit to segregate everybody. That's how I truly feel about the situation. Now, underlyingly, is some of it true? Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. I say that with my whole chest. Abso-fucking-lutely. There are people out here, and this goes on both sides, men and women. Not gender specific. People out here faking their whole fucking life, their whole personality for years until somebody gets so comfortable that then all of a sudden they start switching up. Then all of a sudden they start acting, showing up as the manipulative, abusive, narcissistic asshole that they really are. I'm sorry, that's crazy to me. I will never wrap my mind fully around that because that's not in me. That's not in me, that's not on me, that ain't who I was meant to be in this life. And so, authentically, I will never fucking agree with that. And I will never actually understand how people could put up such a facade in the first place. Why would you want a fake situation based off of your fake personality? Let me stop, because I'm going to get mad. The energy has just been pulling up the low-key insecurities. Pulling up the things that just, I guess, underlyingly have navigated through my life and manifested its way into my life in a lot of ways. And I understand where those insecurities came from. And that's why I opted to heal. Like, I opted to learn what I needed to learn about myself and unpack that shit that I didn't need. And quite honestly, I think that it's just showing me now currently, because I'm out of the woods right now, right? Like I just did a whole bunch of healing work. I just did a whole bunch of purging work. Y'all saw me crying on freaking Instagram and YouTube here lately. But I think it's showing me that how specifically those thoughts, those ideas, those underlying things, and even tendencies and habits weave themselves through my personality, weave themselves throughout my life, weave themselves throughout how I've acted, reacted, projected, been projected on, all of it. It's things I've accepted, things I didn't accept. It's almost like somebody showing me the preview of a movie real quick. And that preview is only showing the highlights of all of how those insecurities played out throughout the entire movie. Like that's what the reel is. That's what the review is. That's what the trailer is. The movie trailer is. It's showing all these little clips of how those insecurities played through my life. And I can't really say that I'm fully attached to those feelings that express themselves as insecurities. I'm not really attached to much, to be honest. I've done a lot of detachment work as well. And in regards to that, I don't like, I attach, don't get me wrong, I attach to things enough to let them teach me and so I can actually learn from them. But I don't actually attach in the sense of like hoarding it and keeping it and storing it. Like, I don't store shit in my body. Even emotionally, I'm at the point where if something comes up, I listen to it, I hear it, I acknowledge it. And usually I pass it through. How I pass it through, I go get grounded, I sit by water, I usually cry, I journal it out, I exercise it out. As far as like, that sounded like, I mean, it really is like exercising some demons, but sometimes it's like that. But I mean, like, I literally go work out and it just expels the energy basically. And I'm very creative. So I'm either going to draw, like sketch it out, or paint it out, write it out, poetry, sing it out. I sing a lot lately. I have a lot of ways of how I get the energy out of me when it comes up like that. I don't let it sit in my body. I turn it into something, or I just let it express itself, whichever it needs. I don't ever box myself. I don't limit myself, and I don't do things the same exact way. So whatever it needs, however it needs to express itself, I allow it. I don't store this shit in my body. So that's where I'm at in life, where nothing can actually attach to me in that way, because I've healed so deep, because I've exposed those traumas so deep, because I've exposed all of how I felt, and even down to the deepest of insecurities. And right now it's just exposing itself, like those insecurities are exposing themselves as this is how I played out. And of course, like, you know, during healing work, you know this, like you start pinpointing stuff like, dang, that's because of this. That happened because of this. I felt that way because of this. That's what happens during healing work. It's all about dissecting you. It's what shadow work, a lot of people call shadow work. It's the same as that concept. You're going down into the depths of you, the shadow self, and you're pinpointing all of these things. And you start pulling those things out and actually reading it for what it is. And then you can actually choose to keep being that person or discard it, find a way to heal and release it. Shadow work. I never cared to attach myself to insecurities. Did I have some? Sure. Did I wear them out and openly? No. Did they somehow weave themselves throughout my life because they weren't really necessarily fully acknowledged like they should have been in the past? Yes. Did I start releasing some of that when I healed? As I was healing, I learned to. And does some of that still resurface every once in a while? Absolutely. But now I have the discernment. And now I know what to do in order to release those things, instead of allowing them to stick to any part of my psyche, any part of my being, any part of... There's nothing really left in me that hasn't been touched as far as like healing and unlearning things. So there's nothing that's underlying for an insecurity to attach itself to. Insecurity is almost like parasites. It's swarming. It's almost like it's swarming around looking for something in your past to attach itself to make it worse. That's how I feel about it. That's my POV. And it's like, I don't have anything left in there for an insecurity to attach itself to. So now it's just playing movie trailers and showing me how that all played out in my life in the past. And yeah, it's a weird energy. That imposter syndrome is real. I've never actually let me rephrase. I've dealt with imposter syndrome in random scenarios, but very, very small levels of it. It's almost like this is too good to be true, and I feel out of place, but I'm gonna do it anyway. For a very long time in my life, I actually lived by the motto of I'm gonna do it anyway. And I don't mean on some toxic shit. I don't mean like I was going around toxically doing a whole bunch of things like I'm gonna do it anyway, trying to be an asshole or an idiot out there. No, I mean to the sense of like, yeah, this is gonna be really good for me. This is gonna work out for me. I know that, but I'm scared as fuck. I'm gonna do it anyway. And I had, honestly, it didn't take me that long to do that. I'm an air sign. We get into action. So it was, I don't know. I mean, I do, but I don't, because that's an even longer story. I've kind of always known who I am. Like I've always had a type of secure position within myself. I've always had this disposition of knowing that I'm worth something. But it's like all these underlying tendencies, all these things in life that kept piling on top of each other, in regards to how I was treated by a lot of people, in regards to how that manifested itself out in my life. And yeah. Usually when I go through insecurities, I start writing out lists of affirmations. But I think today, it's a 7/7 portal today. So I don't know what planets are where to tell you the full energies everywhere. I'm not an astrologer. I just love astrology. But I do know the energy is open, and that's probably why these insecurities are trying to show themselves to me, so I don't have to take them with me into the new timeline. And yeah, I think I'm gonna do a burn letter. I think I'm gonna write out all of the insecurities that I used to have and that may still be lingering, or just even thought about. Anything that I can think about that can boil down to an insecurity, I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to take it outside with the intention of releasing them while I burn the paper. That's a burn letter. I think I'm going to do that today. And I need to get outside and go for a walk. I won't go for a run today. I went for a run yesterday and got my body moving. And I'm still kind of sore, so I might just go for a walk and get some sunlight today. But yeah, if anybody's going through and feeling the same type of energy when it comes to insecurities resurfacing, find a way that makes sense for you to help you release it. But my go-to is journaling and writing it out. That's why I think the burn letter will serve me best at this point. That way I can feel it. I can really see out in front of me what it is that's been manifesting within me for all this time. I can physically see in a list of things, and I recommend it. If you're going to do that, you have to be blunt with yourself. You have to be authentic. You have to be completely honest. This isn't a letter for anybody else. It's a letter for you, to talk to you, to say this is what's there. So if you're going to do it with me, I recommend it. And let's clear out some of these old habits, patterns, and thought processes today. Happy 7/7 portal. And after that burn letter, I'm going to do some affirmations. I posted the root chakra meditation, or root chakra affirmations. I just posted the root chakra affirmations on Instagram. So check those out and use those where they apply. I think that's going to be, I might branch off into something else. We'll see. But I think the underlying is going to be my root chakra, because I'm getting my manifestations. I'm getting the sense of security within everything in my life, when it comes to finances, when it comes to mental stability, when it comes to psychological aspects and emotional stability, And when it comes to relationships and connections, when it comes to everything, all of that is slowly showing itself to me as like, hey, I'm here, just step up to the plate and I got you. Like, that's what's happening in my life right now. And it's like all these, the little soot of the situation, I'm gonna call it that. You know how you have a fire, you have a fireplace, and there's soot that's left. There's like this black ash basically that's left. It's the soot of the situation that is just like, you still gotta clean that out. You still gotta get that out. So let's sweep that out. And then we can move forward. Once everything is super, super fucking clean, then you can move forward. Because if it's not, these dirty remnants of things will get stuck. They'll get in the way. They'll show themselves along this new journey. Along this journey that doesn't necessarily deserve that. Doesn't need that in order to survive and be and thrive. So that's where we're at. Oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a burn letter. If I add any more affirmations, I'll go ahead and post what affirmations I did too for any of you going on the journey with me here. That way you can have them. Because this journey isn't like, it's meant to do alone, but it's not meant to do alone. Like, there's a whole community of people waking up at the same time, a whole group and community and massive awakening of people that are working on all the same things at the same time. And although this message is timeless, there's a handful of us going through it exactly at the same time. So do me 2 favors. Like this. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. And that way we can build the tribe. Also, get some comments on Instagram. Let me know what you're going through. A lot of y'all message me privately, and I'm fine with that. If you don't want your comments out there in the open, I'm okay with that. Let's just chat in the DM. But put a comment, put a like. Help me get to a point where we as a group, because we do have a small group already, we as a group can expand a little bit more, and we can get a little more of a tribe to where people are openly talking about these things in their journey, and even what they need right now. I think that's like the one thing people don't ask. What do you need? And I'm not saying like we have to put ourselves out there, because again, this is a solo journey for the most part. You have to unpack all your own things, and then collectively we can come together and help each other. But what do you need, sis? What do you need, bro? I can give you an energetic hug if you really need it. I can give you words of affirmation for the day if you need it. I'm not here to be everybody's Captain Save 'em. That's not what this is. But to have a community and to have support, let's do that. Let's subscribe to that. Alright, I'm going to get off of here. This video is going to be way too long, but I'm going to post it anyway. I love y'all. In light and love and authenticity.